Hey, so what is up guys, it's Pohdoh here, and sorry it's a day late, but I needed some time to actually get used to the update. So in this video I'm going to be talking about every single change that I can find with the update, because Gameland does not release an official patch list for whatever reason. So anyways, there's a lot to talk about, I don't want to waste too much time, so I'm going to go on straight to it. So first things first, UI change. You can see that you're in the Ruin of Villia Temple, or however you say that dungeon, and there's a nice loading screen, there's new music as well, if you can hear it. So that's pretty cool, I guess. I mean, it's really overdue since they haven't changed it for like a year. But let's go after this loading screen. By the way, I am using an iPad, and this is just kind of borrowed at the moment because my iPhone's lagging too much for recording purposes. But anyways, new loading screen, new loading menu, and let's see all this stuff right here. Oh, zoom in really close. Okay, first things first is the events. There's like these little events every single time, every single day. There's a new daily event. So such as for this, you need to duel a certain amount of time, and then if you are at the top of the leaderboard by the end of the day, you get this, an essence of epoch or whatever is at the very top. And this I think this tournament is literally one of the dumbest ideas I ever came up with, because some of the prizes are absolutely fucking worthless. Like one, you had for the bronze collecting, where you collect a certain amount of bronze. Some people were collecting like 2,000 bronze minerals for a slab that increases your crafting by 1 level. So I don't know what that's all about. But anyways, as you can see here, people apparently take this seriously because they've done like over 1,000 duels for this. And then if you do a certain amount of duels, you get these little chests. You win these chests, and then they mail them to you, and you get certain rewards, except they're not that great. And then there's the solo one, and then this is activities that you can just do by yourself, except not really, because you somehow need to do the lottery 3,450 times in order to have a chance of winning first place, which is a nice mount, except the only problem is you're competing against everyone else in the server. And there's freaking Angel's Vigil, which is also really retarded, since they should remove it from the game and burn it in fire. And there's a chest here as well, and there's a time left. So that is the events. Pretty lackluster in my opinion. This sounds like another attempt to make money. I mean, I'm not even like mad about it anymore, it's just so obvious. But anyways, another thing is that they fixed the petties. As you can see now, it doesn't have the retarded, beard thing. It actually is a regular enchanted pet, except the only problem is, I'll show you later, is that it's broken and the buffs don't work. So, I guess, to be honest, I think the petty pet was really overpowered, but I mean, still, I like some utility out of it. I spent forever collecting stars. But anyways, alright then. While I'm on the way, I can just talk about the other stuff. As you can see in the mini-map, there's a blue arrow, so it's a little easier to see, so I guess it's a cool change. The thing about this update is that overall, I think they slightly improved the game, except they introduced so many new problems that is kind of funny. As a PvP player, as specific world PvP player, this is actually a really good update for me specifically. But for dungeon players, it's a sack of shit. Like, I mean, they did so. But another thing they did is that they added souls to almost every single boss, pretty much like increasing the exhaust for every single dungeon by 2. So that really fucking sucks for hardcore PvE players, because they can't run that many dungeons without buying a bunch of tabs. And while I'm walking there, let me just auto walk here. So what else is there? Oh yeah, there are new achievements. New achievements here. There's a mount achievement, and there's the pet achievement. And see, if you get all the pets, then you get like this fish thing. And if you get all like a certain amount, like if you get all the if you get all the deers, every single epic one, that means you get a ghost mount. You get a new ghost mount. And then here is the new soul camp, and it looks like they added a bunch of stuff, except don't be fooled, they actually didn't add that much at all. All they did is they put the generator temple stuff here, and then they put the tier 1, they pretty much just relocated the mobs. And there's a lava, so don't worry, that's still there. And then you can get all the blood, all the tier 2. You get the tier 1 over here, and then the new quests. What they do is that they're readjusted for level 70, and then you get these souls. And I mean, that's a okay change, I think. Except they should have updated SPL or another another old level 60 dungeon, because as of now, lava cores do not drop from those dungeons. So that's another big change, and which is really pissing a lot of people off because those dungeons are basically absolutely useless now. And my oh shit. Okay, never mind. I thought my dog was chewing on my book. But anyways, let's see. Alright, new stuff. Nick's shop. Obviously, added stuff to Nick's shop. And they added a new dungeon, and they added the black market. I'll show you the black market, and I don't know where the dungeon is, because the problem is the dungeon hasn't been released yet, for whatever dumb reason. And then what they did is that they added very nice looking vanities right here. Except the only problem is that you have to pay, you have to spend like 700 hours in order to win one. And there's this, I mean, there's all of this shit right here, except the only problem is, like, literally, you have to pay 400 runes just to buy it. And not even, you know, including the process of, you know, actually winning them. Which will literally cost you, like, 600 hours and, like, God knows how many runes. And my dog is chewing on something, I don't know what it is, but anyways, yeah, new vanities, they're very expensive, they're very nice looking, which brings up the question, why is it our epic gear look like shit, but then our vanities, which cost rune, look amazing? So I guess they have their priorities straight. So they have new titles based on achievements as well. You'll see a little star right here. So if you follow the achievement, then you can check it in, and then it'll have that above your name. I don't know what mine is right now. I think I turned it off. Yeah, I turned it off because I don't like how it looks. So anyways, let's see. That's it. Alright, they added in the settings. They had a game of Connect, so you can connect to their shitty ass customer service. So I mean, I guess that's a plus. And then there's no Easter quest. I'm not gonna show it because it'll take me forever to get there. But in Silence, there's new fucking Easter quest. I'm sorry if I'm swearing, but a lot of the changes are just laughable. They have an Easter quest, even though Easter has passed like 2 weeks ago. So props on Gameloft for that. And they had to spell haste gems. I don't think I showed it to you, but they just added spell haste gems. It's in the green section. And then let's see, there's new diminishing return for all aspects of PvP. I wish I could show that as well, except the PvP zones are all dead right now. But anyways, yeah, there's new diminishing return, meaning that ice mages can't stunlock, tanks cannot stunlock anymore. You know, Millie's DPS warriors are a lot better. Archer's got the dick. So on terms of class changes. So I'll talk about all that a little later. There's new ugly, you know, spell wield thing. I don't know why it did that. It looks even uglier on an iPhone. And then guess what? We have an even bigger, more intrusive chat box and all this stuff right here. You can check info, except it tells us almost nothing besides the guild and besides the level, which I'm assuming almost everyone's level 70 and global anyway. So let's see. Oh yeah, they added a bunch of useless stuff. For an example, I can do an invite the guild option, even though I'm not an admin or not a guild master, and then it pretty much just takes up a shit ton of space. So that's great. And while I'm walking the black market, you know, let's see. I'll talk about more stuff. So, anyways, let's see. What else is there? There's obviously more game lag. You can't tell because I'm on an iPad Air, but then on my phone it definitely lags a lot more, which is a crock of shit, if you ask me. So I'm gonna be right back, guys. Sorry about that. My dog was chewing on a bead that he found on the ground. So, anyways, while I'm walking there, I'm gonna use my very epic gray chinchilla. And then while I'm riding there, I'll tell you more changes. The dungeon changes. So like I said, souls drop on like basically every dungeon besides a few bosses. So pretty much you cannot run an epic loot anymore. So it just pretty much just increases the exhaust of every single dungeon by 2 times. For example, you cannot run FML on epic loot because of the souls, and you'll get 40 exhaust every single time. So now you can only run it 3 times maximum unless you want to tab. So what else is there? Oh yeah, Notcher and the mage solo boss, it has been fixed, so you see the circles, and Notcher's also been nerfed, so it's easier to kill. And let's see, what else is there? But each also has 60 fucking exhaust, so I don't know how the hell you're gonna farm that, because you're gonna waste so many tabs. You can run it 2 times. And then FC on VTL, and let me see, dungeon queue at the same time. There's this is the regular dungeon, and there's a dungeon finder. And keep in mind, the reset right here, don't be fooled. The reset does not mean reset the dungeon. Reset all dungeons above. Reset, what it does is that it automatically uses a tab. It automatically uses a tab, and guess what? It's in bright green, so that some players can accidentally click on it. It already happened to me. So, let's see. So, oh yeah, solo bosses have 50 exhaust on legendary mode, except now that they drop, epic gems. So, I mean, but epic gems aren't that great. I mean, they're okay for PvE, but for PvP, they're kind of shit. But, let's see, what else is there? I think that's pretty much it, talking about the UI. So, this is the black market. It's not that bad, I guess. It's kind of homey, and then there's all these guys. This is my mount right here. And there's a champion bear, and I swear to God, if they make the champion bear really cheap to buy, I'm gonna flip tables, because that mount should actually be special since it's been released to only a very few select amount of people. So, anyways, that's just my opinion. Not like GameLock gives a shit, but anyways, let's look at the class changes. For mages, one change is that on Fire Flow, it permanently increases the damage of fire spells by 70% and increases the critical damage of fire spells by 50%. And some of you may be saying, oh, that's not a change, it's always been there. Well, not really, because it used to be increases the damage of fire spells by 50% and increases the critical damage by 70%. So they flipped it around to help out undergeared mages, so that's pretty cool. Class change-wise, they actually did pretty well, besides archers, of course. And then everything else here is pretty much the same. Let me see right here. Ice. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, ice. Ice is pretty much the exact same, except now Frostbolt has a 0-second cooldown, which is a really small deal. And ice has definitely been nerfed because of diminishing return, meaning that we cannot stun lock anymore. It's impossible to really stun lock anymore. And even if we can, it's going to do basically 0 damage. So don't worry about that, guys. And then, oh yeah, new thing is that spell haste. I have 5.1% spell haste, and if you look at some of my spells, you can see that my spells cooldowns have decreased. So spell haste actually reduces the cooldowns of some of your spells, of all your attacking spells, all your pure attacking spells. Anything with control effects will not be affected. And then let's see. Oh yeah, another small change. I'll show you my other tunes which I don't really ever play. But another change is that you cannot use War Free in the World PvP zone. You can use it outside the World PvP zone, but not inside. You also cannot use War Free during combat, and you also you cannot wing during combat. You cannot teleport during combat at all, which is really nice. So I really like those changes. I really appreciate those changes. But overall they listened to us a little more, except they added like an equal amount of new problems. And then one big problem is the archers. They suck ass now. They really do. I mean, unless they find something. I heard pin feed and interrupts now. Interrupts, stuns, or does something now. But I mean, still, they really do fucking suck. For snipe. Oh, actually, first things first is that haste. Regular haste. It reduces the cooldown on some of your spells. 2.9 seconds, as you can see, it does that. So and also reduces Shadow Strike. Shadow Strike cooldown as well. But only attacking spells. Anything with an interrupt, anything with a control effect will not be changed at all. So, anyways, the assassin changes. The Shadow Blink is now stuns for 5 seconds if you fully upgraded. It stuns for 5 seconds and it's great. And keep in mind, it's stunned. It does not daze anymore. So if you use Dagger Stab after Shadow Blink, you will do offhand damage as well. So they did pretty much buff Sins up pretty decently. I mean, maybe they're not good in arena, but they're definitely better. They're definitely way better. So I've been seeing a huge difference in terms of my Sins DPS. And I have another tune, except I'm not going to show it because I share it. So anyways, it's now a true stun. And then after you attack with Shadow Strike, you stun for 5 seconds instead of 4 seconds now. So that's pretty cool. They listened to us about the Sin buffs. So that's really nice. As for archers, they kind of did their own thing. Pin feet. It now interrupts enemies. It doesn't show on the description for whatever reason, but then it only lasts for 4 seconds, and it's been reduced from 6 seconds. So I mean, I guess it doesn't make that big of a difference, but I mean, still, it's like an unnecessary nerf, in my opinion. But anyways, let's see. Vigilance. They have a new is an updated talent. Vigilance. When you take a critical melee hit, you have a 30% chance of triggering the Vigilance effect, removing all control conditions, pretty much a free will, and a resetting the cooldown time of escape and pin feed, and also stun for 4 seconds. And it's really gimmicky. I mean, I cannot see this happening that often unless there's a huge, increase in the amount of critical melee damage. Keep in mind, not spell crit. I'm not even sure if it's melee, if it's skill crit as well. It's just auto attack melee hits, which really sucks. I mean, it really does. So I really feel bad for archers. Really do feel you guys. Also, explosive. It does not stun anymore, which also really sucks for archers in general, because it was a decently reliable stun. But I mean, to be honest, I'm not even sure. It was kind of degenerate spell, but I still would have preferred that they give a much stronger boost to archers if they're gonna remove something like this, because I mean, it really was one of the few redeeming qualities about archers. And then that's pretty much it. And I heard the vigor reduces, or the spell crit, or the skill damage increases, but I haven't really proved any of that. So anyways, let's move on to my monk. Let's see. Keep in mind, I don't play any of these tunes, so don't bother messaging them or doing anything with them, because literally they're either bank tunes or they're pretty much all bank tunes, or they're just tunes that I go on for fun, and I'm pretty much gonna ignore everyone on there because they're not really my secret tunes anymore, because I just showed you guys. But anyways, the monk changes. General changes is the haste reduces the cooldown time of only attacking spells. Lion Strike and Tiger Claw. Does not affect Dragon Tail because it has an interrupt, and does not affect Phoenix because it has a daze. So anyways, healers basically untouched. I cannot find a single difference, no one can. And this is, wait, not this. Phoenix Storm. Now it has a 15-second cooldown, down from a 20-second cooldown, I believe. And also another thing is that now Nerve Shock, it causes a stun condition it causes a 100% chance to cause a stun condition for 5 seconds now. I believe it was 3 seconds, I believe it was 70% chance. So they upped it up. So melees are actually even better. I mean, with the Mystery buffs, they can almost do a stun lock. I mean, it's kind of crazy. And because of diminishing return, they're actually a lot stronger, because the main problems were that they were frozen, they were controlled all the time. But with diminishing return, they can actually move and do damage. So, I mean, melees are looking really powerful right now. But other than that, that's all there is. Okay, and then let's go on to my very pro warrior. And I'm asking you guys to calm down and not, gasp or have a heart attack just looking at how pro my warrior is. I'll tell you right now that I can solo level 30 mobs with my warrior, and I personally think, it's on my own humble opinion, that I can pwn noobs with my warrior. But anyways, I'm not here to brag about my very, very pro warrior, but regardless, I don't play on it much. Actually, I don't play on it at all. But the changes is that tanks and ice mages are pretty heavily nerfed, just because of diminishing returns. So they didn't really touch the class at all, which I really like, because I like that concept that they're buffing the other classes instead of nerfing classes. So haste does not actually decrease the the cast time, I believe, for warriors, which is meh, whatever kind of deal. I think it's because Swift Strike has an aggro effect. I'm not even sure, but either ways, I couldn't find any way to activate it. So one thing is that Decapitate, it causes a fear condition for 2 seconds, which is, I mean, it's okay, I guess. I mean, the biggest change is the world PvP, because the biggest issue was control. So now that they can actually move and attack without being stun locked to death by an ice mage, they can actually be pretty deadly in world PvP. I already saw a few that were doing a lot of damage on me. But that's the only change there is that there's a fear condition, and besides that, there's nothing else. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully it wasn't too long. I try my best to cover every single change there is inside this game without going to the 30-minute mark. So anyways, I know there might be a few more. I believe there's a few additional NPCs, like they added trainers in the suit. They added trainers in the desert auction house and a few other things. But overall, I mean, they could have done so much more with the update. They really fucked over PvE players with the new change to the exhaust system, so that really sucks. And I mean, it really does depend what kind of player you are. For a casual player, it's really nice changes, but for a hardcore player, it really is just another slap to the face. So my condolences to all the players, all the heavy PvE players, and I don't really run dungeons that much. I don't plan on buying any more tabs anymore just because of this change. I stopped buying. I never bought buffs because I don't like buffs, and now I'm not buying tabs because I don't like tabs either. Because I want to make a difference, and I don't think buying tabs is gonna do anything besides encourage Gameloft to introduce more pay to win. So, anyways, it's Pohdoh here. Rate, comment, subscribe. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like. And I'm sorry for the duration of the video. I try my best to cover every single change I could in the given amount of time. So, anyways, it's Pohdoh here. Rate, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys later.